Hi, Kanaya, the Virtuous Vixen here, and I promised I would share some wonderful knowledge that I got from an elder man in my family while I was home over the holiday weekend. So here it is. I was asking him a few questions just about life in general, and he started off talking about community and what he saw was missing up north versus down south. Now, he's from Louisiana and currently lives in Detroit, Michigan, and has for over 30 years now. But he was sharing how what he saw was missing, definitely was community. People looking out for one another, but then he started to break it down and get into the men. And he was like, what he really saw, was that men weren't taking responsibility for the community. He's like, they're not respecting the women. He's like, there's no other community you can go into, but they allow folks to disrespect their women like that. And this is not male bashing. I'm actually just sharing something. But let's talk about the women. And he got on women settling for anything just to have something. And he was saying how he teaches his daughters, who are my cousins, to never settle. Don't lower your standards. And I said, okay, well, I got that, But what does a woman do when she has high standards? She doesn't want to settle, but also doesn't want to be alone. I said, myself, case in point. And here was his advice to me, ladies, so take note. He said to go south, young woman. Now, this is his logic. He said men down south are taught to take good care of women. They're taught to respect women, to protect women, to understand that men sacrifice and do whatever it takes to make sure their woman is taken care of. And he said that the men down south can appreciate powerful, strong women because it takes a strong woman to be able to survive down south. And a lot of the men up here, they don't know what to do with us because they've had it a little too easy. It was interesting. He said, you don't have to go south to find a good man. But he said, your odds will be vastly improved. And he says, you can't go places, let's say like in Atlanta, where it's mostly transported northerners. You gotta go somewhere, that's intrinsically southern. So like, in Richmond, Virginia, or maybe a Charlotte, maybe not a Charlotte, North Carolina, but maybe a Raleigh, North Carolina. Somewhere that's southern, but it can still be modern. So it's something to consider. Going south and finding a man with, and he calls some great down-home values community, and understands that women are key to community. And some of the things he talked about, the difference. He, for example, works either the midnight or the afternoon shift because he didn't want his wife working late because he, of course, has to protect her. And he wanted to make sure that there was someone available to take their kids to school in the morning. So he takes them to school. And then when she got off, she would pick them up, take care of them in the evening. And he was willing to make that sacrifice for the last 20-some-odd years because he's a man who takes care of his family and makes sure that they're taken care of. And he talked about how a lot of the young men and the men he worked with, they don't necessarily appreciate his wisdom and what he shares with them. They're not prepared to make that kind of sacrifice for their family. But those are the kind of men we're looking for. So the wisdom going south, or looking for some men with southern values who may have been raised down south. I don't know if that's a foolproof thing, but it's certainly something to consider. Could our search for Mr. Right be hindered by our geographical boundaries? Do I need to go south for a while and find Mr. Extraordinary? I'm not sure, but it's certainly something to consider. Well, that's all for today. I'll be back soon with more from the life and times of the Virtuous Vixen.